Picture this. You're working at a bar and every day is the same. You get up, get ready, grab your phone and keys, and then leave the house for work, still blinking the sleep out of your eyes. You walk down a hallway with doors all at the same as yours and exit to a dark alleyway. It could be the middle of the night, or the crack of dawn with how dark it is, but you've gotten used to the random working hours. It's the nature of your job. You wearily walk down the alleyway, still yawning, before taking a right to go down the stairs to the bar where you work. It's a decent bar, nothing too fancy, but certainly no slacker either. You get steady customers, and regulars frequent it for their nightly drink after work. The odd couple will occasionally wander in, take a look at all the locals still chatting together, and then they'll leave, feeling slightly alienated from the established drinkers there, but the memory of the bar is already fading from their heads. It's exactly why you chose it. It's a nice enough place, but it's nothing too fancy. Attracting the locals, but nothing much more. That's fine, because the locals are a weird bunch. Some of them have obsessions with antiques and old artifacts, and some go travelling for long periods before coming back, always returning with the same vacant expression on their faces. The Six Nights bar isn't the kindest to strangers. You used to be it by now, is your boss, Joss, is a bit of an oddity himself, possessing the same determination to find the oldest relics he can for his collection. You've known him long enough to not question it. He has his business, you have yours, and that's as far as your relationship goes. You suddenly stop, startled. You've arrived, and you are so deep in thought that you never even noticed it. The doors are already open, as Joss works the day shift, and I'll be wanting to leave as soon as possible. You enter, and as you go through the old-style saloon doors that lead to the back bar, Joss notices your red-rimmed eyes. You were in such a rush to leave that you didn't even think about doing your makeup. It's not that the locals notice that kind of thing anyway. No matter, Joss is more than happy to show you the ropes again. As you put together some drinks to get back into the flow of things, you notice that Joss's outline begins to get a little hazy. That's strange, you think, as you pour a pint of lager. You're concentrating so hard on getting the perfect pour that you don't even notice the slight dimming of the lights. You only notice when you're shaking up a Cosmopolitan that Joss's shadow seems heavier than normal. Not only that, but the shadow is rising around him, sticking to his skin like tar, enshrouding him in a dark glow. Your eyes open wide, fear stabbing into your heart like a knife. The music begins to slow, the lights dimming even more, the dark glow around Joss beginning to take over the whites of his skin. As you finally unfreeze and start to think of running, everything goes black. You wake up suddenly. It's time to go to the bar again. Welcome to Six Nights to Die. As you might have seen in the title, Six Nights to Die is the first of my weekly indie game reviews by a small developer named Vanilla Studios. So what did I think of it? Well, Six Nights to Die is a bar simulator / psychological horror game. It begins the same way each night, exactly the way I described. You're on your way to work as a barmaid in a shady town filled with generic bars and sex shops, apparently. Every day, the night begins with you needing to turn the lights on and set up the bar service, which will be similar each night. Customers come in, and you make them drinks. It's a surprisingly intuitive system, and I really enjoyed my nightly bar service. Making drinks is simple but fun, pleasant music plays, and I also really enjoyed the fact that I knew I wasn't going to have to face anything scary until service ended. Speaking of service ending, that text popping up on screen was the moment I stopped breathing easy. That's when Six Nights to Die transforms from a very calming bar simulator into a very creepy psychological horror game. Lights flicker and turn red, demons appear in doorways, shadowy figures sprint down hallways. One thing is crucial to making this game even more unsettling though, and that's the fact that this is very much not a survival game. You won't be harmed at all, or even have to directly engage with what you see on screen until the final act. This is a game designed to mess with your mind, and mess with your mind it absolutely does. It made each visit to the bar all the more nerve-wracking, as I knew that with each visit would come new horrors as service ended. It made me really appreciate the bar simulator aspect of the game, as it broke up the tension between scares really well. This isn't a white knuckle ride, it's a slow breakdown into chaos. It's also very short, which helps the game not overstay its welcome. The way that the more demonic aspect of the Six Nights bar creeped gradually further and further into your nightly service meant that the tension ramped up organically. It's a controlled descent into madness that I enjoyed a lot. Of course, there are a few flaws. The dialogue is one, as there are some translation errors such as the rag being labelled as a mop, which added a few seconds of confusion. Shaky and sometimes uneven dialogue aside, and it's shaky almost the entire way through, Six Nights to Die does seem to have a slight issue with reusing assets. Mostly it's fine, but when I've passed 4 sex shops on my way to work, it does pull me out of the experience a little. I do understand that this is an indie game made by very small developers however, so I'll let that one slide. Overall though, Six Nights to Die proved to be a really enjoyable time. It's got a few quirks, but I thought that the overall presentation and game design perfectly fit the psychological horror label. I particularly enjoyed the nightly routine of serving customers before the scares started. I found it to be just the right balance of casual bar simulator fun and creepy psychological horror scarefest. It's definitely one that I'd recommend picking up if you're after a few scares and you've got an afternoon free, as it only lasts a couple of hours. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and I'd like to congratulate Vanya Studios for the work they've put in on this one. It really paid off, as this is the kind of short but sweet horror gem that I love playing when I've got a bit of time to myself. I'm feeling a heavy 7 to a light 8 out of 10 for Six Nights to Die, and a massive thank you to the developers for sending me the game code. I really enjoyed it, and it'll be on my Steam creator page once I get one within the next week. Six Nights to Die releases on the 1st of February 2024, and I'd highly recommend you guys pick it up. I personally had a great time. Thank you again to Vanya Studios, and with all that being said guys, leave some of your favourite psychological horror games in the comments below, subscribe if you want to see more game reviews, and thank you very much for watching.